She identifies as a straight ally of the LGBT community. She's been actively involved in advocating for anti-bullying measures in schools and has participated in national conferences. She's an ambassador for GLSEN, and the rest of it I'm going to let her talk to you about. This is Carly.
Hi, good evening. Oh, sorry. Getting used to the microphone. I was the one who asked her about lowering it. So good evening, everyone. First of all, I just wanted to thank all of you for the opportunity to speak before you today, including all of the people who worked so hard to organize this event, as well as all of you who showed up just to learn more about the LGBT community. One of the most important things that I have learned over my years as being an ally and an advocate is that no matter how long you have been involved in LGBT issues, the process of education is never over. There are always new issues, experiences, and perspectives to learn about and try to understand. And as allies, the more conscious of that fact that we are, the more effective advocates that we can be. So whether you are a seasoned ally or someone coming to an LGBT event for the first time tonight, I hope that hearing from myself and some of the other speakers on the panel will be of benefit to you. So that being said, I'd like to start out by telling you a little bit about myself. I'm a sophomore in high school down in Sarita, Arizona, where I am the founder and president of just one of the over 4,000 gay-straight alliance clubs in the country. I also work with the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network, or GLSEN, on a local and national level as a student ambassador, a member of their student engagement committee, and a GLSEN Tucson board member. As part of these organizations, I am just one of thousands of students and community members working on a school-wide, local, and national level for one goal, which is to create schools that are safe and affirming for all students, regardless of their sexual orientation, their gender identity, or their gender expression. Over the past years, this issue has risen to a lot of prominence both in and outside of the LGBT community, due in some part to some very tragic suicides of LGBT students who were relentlessly bullied or harassed to the point where they did not feel safe in their schools and communities, as well as due to some amazing LGBT youth who have spoken out about their experiences in our nation's schools. And some of these experiences include victimization, discrimination by school staff and policies, and for some, environments so hostile that as to make it impossible for them to be out and be themselves. But even with the growing attention being focused on LGBT bullying and harassment, oftentimes I get asked why I am so involved in this particular issue. After all, as a straight church-going Christian, I'm not exactly the type of person you would expect to find on a panel like this. The truth is that the question of why I'm involved is sometimes still a difficult one for me to answer, as different people are drawn to different causes for different reasons, although I'm sure my ally mom might have had something to do with it. But after a while, I think I finally found an answer to the why do you care question by posing one of my own. Why shouldn't everyone care? Why shouldn't everyone care that LGBT bullying and harassment is so common that 63.5% of LGBT students and 80% of transgender students say that they do not feel safe at school because of their identity? Why shouldn't everyone care that 81.9% of lesbian, gay, and bisexual students report that they've been verbally harassed because of their sexual orientation? And why shouldn't everyone care that, despite the fact that having supportive staff members, comprehensive anti-bullying policies, and student clubs like Gay Straight Alliances are shown to have a tremendous impact on preventing bullying, few LGBT students report having these resources at their school? Unfortunately, even looking at these statistics, some will say that kids will be kids and bullying is just a part of growing up. But research has shown that bullying is not just a part of growing up, because its effects stay with victims and bullies themselves long after they are already grown, making this as much an issue of basic fairness and equality as other LGBT issues such as marriage equality. In this country, we believe that education is one of our most fundamental rights and privileges, because we know how important it is to having a successful and bright future. And all of us, regardless of our sexual orientation or gender identity or any other factor, should have the same opportunity to get an education in an environment where we feel safe and respected. This issue is far from purely theoretical, as studies have shown that LGBT students who are victimized are more likely to have lower GPAs, higher levels of depression, miss more days of school for fear of safety, say they don't want to pursue post-secondary education, and feel a lower sense of belonging in the school community. I strongly believe, and research has strongly shown, that the only way to address these injustices is with policies and actions that specifically address not just anti-LGBT bullying, but overall school climate. Where I went to middle school and where I now go to high school, direct bullying is not a huge problem, but language like gay jokes, the use of gay as an insult, and gender stereotyping have still made somewhat hostile school climates for LGBT students, as it is with many, many of the schools across the country. This experience has taught me that we need to be careful not to assume that just because staff are supportive and no one is getting shoved into lockers, no education needs to be done. In my middle school, despite being big anti-bullying advocates, some people in the administration were very opposed to doing anything LGBT specific, insisting that general anti-bullying policies were enough. Similarly, some people may not understand why I and certain groups focus on LGBT bullying instead of just working on bullying in general. But for the same reason that certain cancer groups focus only on a specific type of cancer, not because they are okay with the other kinds, but because they understand that specific problems need specific solutions. Groups like GLSEN exist to protect students who are often left behind by those who have never been taught about their experiences and their needs. When I was younger, being in a school that fought me on doing anything to educate my peers, some of whom simply did not realize and had never been taught that the language they used with their friends could be harmful to someone else, made it difficult to accomplish much, although my friends and I were still able to make some important improvements. But now I go to a high school with a very supportive administration that helped us start up a GSA, and though we are only in our second year, I feel that our existence has already helped increase the visibility of LGBT issues in our school and our community, and made others stop to consider, if only for a moment, people whose experiences are different from their own. That's why any actions, such as the ones I took, are important. General bullying policies cannot address the fact that when a gay young person can't sit in a class without hearing a gay joke or hearing their identity being used as an insult, or a transgender student can't feel safe dressing and being treated like someone of the gender they identify with, then equality is being denied to them. For these issues, we need ongoing education for students and staff to create an environment that not only discourages bullying, but encourages understanding, dialogue, and the chance for every student to get the education that they deserve. The groups I am very proud to work with and others are fighting for that, and it is my hope that they will not only make a huge impact to students now, but also help prevent the intolerance often found in our schools and the effects it has on LGBT students from pervading into adult lives. In short, I'm an ally because this isn't just an issue that LGBT people should be concerned with. This is an issue that anyone who cares about education and the future should be concerned with. Having informed students, school staff, parents, and individuals in our community, such as yourselves, who care, is a huge step in the right direction. So I encourage all of you to check out resources such as the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network at glisten.org, as well as local resources like Wingspan and EON to learn more. Because as I have learned, anyone can help in the fight for safe schools. Thank you.